I've gone missing on quite a few occasions.
I started going missing when I was 12.
During my time in care, I was probably missing over 100 times.
Out of 3 years, like 50 times. Yeah.
I just wanted to be in my family, and it was just all dead odd.
Most young people who live with us want to live with their family, but because they can't do, they're not always comfortable living with us.
Well, the main issue we find is a trust issue. Very often they don't trust adults and they don't trust people with an authority.
Last thing we want to do is take people away from their home. However, sometimes it is in the young person's best interest.
When I first arrived, it was horrible, scary.
Well, I was first put into care when I was 7 with my brother. We were both in there together, and it was very emotional for us both.
The rules here are completely different, because when I was at home there weren't really any rules.
You've now got a stranger telling you what you can and can't do, and when you have to be home and everything, it's not a natural environment.
We do have some fairly robust routines we follow, like times young people have to be in, times you have to go to bed, things like that, and sometimes that doesn't meet with the behaviour patterns of all young people.
I'm 17 and I'm not going to, if I want to stay over at a mate's house, I will stay over at a mate's house.
If the child does not return home by a specific time where he's due back, first thing we do, we'll make effort to contact them.
After 11:30 in the evening, if we've not located them, then we would report them formally missing to the police.
Good evening, control room.
I'd like to report a young person missing, please.
Yes, certainly. Where from?
Police control room operators will take the report and they will do various checks with the hospitals to make sure the person hasn't been in an accident or gone into hospital. They'll contact the custody block to make sure the young person hasn't been arrested or anything like that.
When children go missing from our care, we take it very seriously because we're responsible for them. We're the parent in place of their own parents, really. So we have to coordinate some sort of a response to find out where they are and to make sure that they're safe. And we're answerable to the parents and we're answerable to the public for that.
And once we report them missing, there's all sorts of things going into place then. It will be a case of, we have a MISPA form, which is probably about 20 pages long, details all the family, all the friends, the people they hang around with. The police will be looking for them. We'll go out in the car, we'll be ringing the friends up, ringing the family up. And generally that we'll be keeping doing that through the night until we find them.
We do have what we call prolific young people that go missing. For me personally, that creates a bigger risk, because why are they? Why do they keep going missing?
We don't lock people in children's homes because we believe that these young people haven't done anything wrong. They may have come down from broken families or situations that are so out of their own control, but they're not the criminals here.
If a young person goes missing from home every weekend for 15, 20 weeks on the trot, you know, it's very easy to become blasé and complacent about looking for that young person, because you think it's just the same old, same old.
There's a lot of frustration in the police. There's a lot of frustration in our own staff teams, you know, and there's a great deal of frustration around young people going missing.
People say it to us all the time. You know, they turn around and say to us, you know, you've got nothing better to do. You know, public are always saying that to us, you know, if you've got nothing better to do. We have. It does drain the resources looking for young people.
Well, I think it's only like 2 police officers that get involved. I think they have to spend like an hour or something, or 2 hours. If they can't find it, they just leave it till the next day.
I think the number of people getting involved, it's Say about 7.
I think probably about 12.
You could be looking at the various different agencies, sometimes 40, 50 people, actually involved in some way in trying to find that young person and bring them back safe.
They don't think, they just think they're invincible, they think they're untouchable, and they think, what the hell are you worrying about? You know, I'm all right. It's a natural thing for a teenager to think.
First time I went missing, I was scared. I didn't know where I was, I didn't know where I was going, and it is quite a scary thing.
And all the times I went missing, I never thought I was in danger because I trusted the people who I was with.
No, I've never been in danger when I've been missing, so I know exactly what I'm doing and I know how to look after myself.
They don't see the dangers. Obviously dealing with crime and dealing with the public, and we do see a lot more of the dangers. I had the missing home report for a child who unfortunately it didn't end too well, and it wasn't a case of bringing them home, it was a case of informing the care homes, you know, that things had gone horribly wrong. If some of the young children had seen what I've seen, they wouldn't go missing at all.
They might have low self-esteem. They're often unhappy because they're not living in a home environment, and they feel, you know, that they're vulnerable by virtue of that, really.
The risk is exactly the same as a kid who isn't in care.
There's dangers everywhere, like they make a big fuss out of going missing. They say like, oh, you could be in danger and all this lot.
There are people out there who will target these young people because they are vulnerable.
I didn't feel scared until one time we went to an address and there was a male there and he was a lot older than I was, and I got sexually abused by him.
There are things that can go wrong, things that can happen to them, and they need to take heed that the world isn't a small insular place. You know, things can go wrong, bad things can happen.
Hopefully we can just get that message across that, do you know what, you're not safe, and all we want to do is bring you back safe.
For each and every hour that passes by, we look at the risk element, and the risk is rising all the time. And as soon as somebody's been missing 24 hours, then it's almost like red alert.
Manx Radio News, I'm Howard Kane. Police in the island say they're concerned for the welfare of a 14-year-old boy who's gone missing in the capital. The teenager was last seen yesterday at his home in Douglas. He's described as 5 foot 4 inches in height, slim with short blonde hair and blue eyes. He was wearing a grey Lonsdale hooded top with blue jeans.
I don't think the general public understand the issues that children who are looked after face and just how vulnerable they are.
We have to keep reminding ourselves all the time of what that young person might have experienced prior to coming into care for many, many years. They may have been in a situation where they believe that the sole reason that they've become looked after is because nobody cares about them.
They say that they're worried about you and all this lot, but they're not. It's just their job, and they're paid to pretend, and they can deny it all they want, but no one really does care. You know, it's as it is, isn't it?
I hope that young people know that we worry personally about the well-being, and it's not just about a job. But I did hear a quote this week from a young person who said that I want someone to worry about me because they care about me, not because they're paid to care about me.
We turn up and do our shift and we get paid, and I recognise that, but actually that the concern and the care goes much, much further than that.
And that means we struggle sleeping, we struggle, you know, relaxing, because we want to know these young people are safe. Because it's that fear, as if something's gone wrong, what could have I done differently to have prevented that?
From a personal point of view, I feel personally responsible for that person because I was there on the night that they went missing.
And overnight, we'll think about them. We don't just switch off, we're just human beings. You still think about whether or not that person's going to turn up tomorrow, or whether there's going to be bad news on your desk when you walk in the next morning.
Quite often, one of the significant factors, and the same theme runs across when you get used to speaking to young people, is they believe that people don't care about them, the community doesn't care about them, police, nobody's got any respect for them. And we need to, collectively, we need to make a stand and change that view.